so I have to plug it in. So we're talking talking about preparation for shows. I was not prepared because I did not have my phone charged. So it's
Good
plugged in.
evening, America.
Welcome, welcome. Let's give everybody a second or two to get in here. Let me get a giveaway started. I have three of my Thriftworks thrift shop official Draz trading cards that I will give away today. So if you want one of these, let's get that giveaway started. All right, so everyone get in, and you might get the official Draz trading card. We are number 392. These are made by, go check out Thriftworks, who makes these. They're pretty cool. They're holographic, collectible, and there's a series, and we're 392. So I guess there's some people are trying to collect them all, but get in the giveaway and you can win one of those. All right, so this is our monthly community support show. We are part of the Whatnot community support team. It's a group of about 30 sellers who regularly meet with the community support team at Whatnot. And so we get to, you know, meet with them and discuss topics. And then in return, we do a monthly show about a specific topic that they assign. And so our assigned topic for this month is Whatnot show preparation, like production, making sure that you have everything as best as you can possibly get it for your show production. So that was our assigned topic. I do want to address the elephant in the room really quickly. Maybe I'll wait until more people get here. So
Okay.
I will talk
Wait till
about,
somebody asks about it.
well, okay, so I'll wait till someone asks. All right, so I have pinned on your screen. Oh, and lovely Pinto's here modding. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, please read the show notes. My show notes in my seller chats have a ton of information. And
Yep,
so a lot of times,
just like that
questions you might
sausage note.
have will be in the show notes. So make sure you read through the show notes. And it has all the official links where you can go to get help on Whatnot. And yes, the new shipping, we can talk about that. Let's wait for a few minutes till everybody gets in here so that I don't have a bunch of people miss it and then be like, hey, what about the new shipping? Um, so let's refer to this. So if you'll take a second and tap on the item that is pinned. So the pinned thing down there that says Whatnot Show Preparation Checklist. It's actually 2 pages. It has a section for pre-show checklist, and then if you swipe over to the second picture, it is during show and post-show. And it's just a really nice little checklist that you can use, especially if you're newer and you're struggling to, keep track of all the things you need to remember about, going live, doing shows, and then what do I do now that I've had the show? So you can actually, screenshot this, print it out, and you can actually check it off, check off all the things to help you kind of stay organized and prepared for your shows. Honestly, I kind of, when they assigned this topic, I was like, crap, because right now we're in the process of trying to move. And so I'm not the greatest example of a really production. So, oh, JR Whatnot is, why does it say JR Whatnot is winning? That is so weird. That's on my screen. Junior Whatnot is winning. Is winning what? I didn't run anything. That's funny.
Maybe he's running for senator.
Running for senator. I don't know because I didn't run any auctions, right?
Well, yeah, the giveaway is,
Oh, I
yeah,
see. JR Whatnot pre-bid on that item. Okay, so you accidentally hit the pre-bid. Well, it's not something we will run, so no worries. No worries. Okay, I was like, that's so weird. Why does it say that? Okay. So, yeah, these are not items I run. These are just my informational items. That's why they're all set at $1, just in case someone actually accidentally did that or I accidentally ran it. All right. So, yeah, this is really just a big checklist, and it goes through all the things that you can do.
JR,
Oh, JR. Well, there you go. You pre-bid and you win. So you're getting a Draz trading card. Congrats. That's how it works, I guess. Pre-bid on something. Is that a strategy? Tell us your secret if it is. All right. We'll get that to you. But yeah, I was saying I'm not the greatest example of amazing show setup or anything right now because we're trying to move. And so we're actually out running our shows out in our garage, and our show setup and production is not like stellar right now. And we even have brand new equipment that we won at the Whatnot Seller Summit that we haven't even opened and set up. So yeah. Yeah, I was like, Junior, do you know a special way to be the winner of the giveaways? We all want to know. Okay. Um, so if you watch my shows, you're gonna be like, hey, maybe well, I mean, is our lighting okay? Is our sound okay? Do we have, what we need? Yeah, the basics. And here's what I wanted to say about production. I think a lot of times when people are new sellers and they come and start, focusing on selling, they feel overwhelmed because it seems like there's so many things that you kind of need to do, and you feel like, the way that you're doing things is subpar compared to a lot of sellers, which it may or may not be. But the key is it takes time, it takes practice, and it takes learning what works, what doesn't work, for you to, be able to figure out and just grow and learn as you go and improve something every time. So always, analyze your show after it's over and think about things that went well, think about things that didn't go so great, and write down a few things that you're willing to change up, improve for the next time to really make it a better experience for you and for your audience. Um, I don't really want to go through this checklist. I just wanted to pin it, share it, have you guys be able to screenshot it. Again, there's 2 pages. So, tap the picture, tap it again, make it big, take a screenshot, and then, swipe over to the other page and get a screenshot of that as well. And it just gives you a lot of good tips for pre, during, and post. All right. So if you have questions, ask them in chat. And we'll talk about shipping in just a minute. How do you get people to come to your first show? Um, Probably the very best thing you can do if you're brand new is, first of all, get a bunch of shows scheduled, because the only way people are ever going to find you and continue to find you is if you have a bunch of shows on your schedule already there for people to see. Number two, you need to network and you need to share on social media. Okay. Don't spam people on Whatnot with your shows. That sends a negative message and it will actually be counterproductive to just go and spam people. I know it seems like the way they have it set up to share your shows, that it seems like you should be able to just share it with a bunch of people, but that's actually spam, and you can actually get in trouble if you do that a lot. Like they track it. But you do need to share it like crazy on all your social media platforms. That will get you a lot further. And networking, what does networking mean? It means going into other people's shows, participating, buying, it means coming to shows like this, participating, asking questions, sharing your shows, because in shows like this, usually you're free because we're all here sellers trying to help each other out. Share your shows in shows like this. I will say that there are bigger sellers who sell um, promote. I do not agree with that practice, and I honestly don't think it's very productive.
Not for
Will
new sellers.
you what's that?
Not for new sellers.
Yeah, not for new sellers.
If your business grows to the point where you need a marketing budget, then there's some decisions to make, and that may be one of them that you make. But early on, just go to your friends and family and say, look, listen, this is kind of how Whatnot works. If there's a bunch of people in my show, other people, oh my gosh, what's that ugly thing back there? Um, people will click into a show that has a lot of viewers. So tell them you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to, just come and help get some interest rolling, so that I can be successful. And you know what? Some if they're family and friends, they'll probably buy some stuff anyway, just to help you out a little
Just
bit.
make sure they're not on your same IP address, 'cause that's not allowed.
Well, no, I mean, obviously.
Right. So some, your own spouse or your own kids in your own house cannot buy from you. That's considered risky behavior because it might come across as shill bidding.
Right. No, I'm just talking about
Yeah.
your cousins,
Yeah.
your aunt,
Right.
your uncle, your pastor, your
Right.
mailman,
Please do
whatever.
invite everybody that you can possibly invite to help you out with that. Um, but networking is huge, and probably some of the more successful sellers who were able to hit the road running are people who were already here on the app as a buyer for a certain amount of time and really made a lot of connections, and then they decided to sell, and it was almost just automatic because they can just tell everybody, I'm going to start selling. And it's fine when it's your friends that you've already made. But networking is huge. And then the other thing is just all of the things that check off what you need to be doing to make sure. And there's a couple of things I have in my auction tab that are kind of I don't know, the standard, like when someone asks that question, here's one of them that I point to. Um, it's just 5 simple things that um, you need to read that and really go through some mental gymnastics of, okay, and what can I do to improve these 5 areas? And I came up with this a long time ago, and a lot of people have told me it made a huge difference.
I saw your question, antiques, uncanny antiques. We'll get to that in just a second.
Um, what was the
Well, her first show is coming up, and shipping scares the crap out of her.
okay?
We can talk about shipping this week and shipping in a month from now
Yeah.
because it's changing.
All right. So right now, what do you sell? Tell me what you sell.
Well, it says antiques.
So you sell vintage stuff. So the default settings for shipping are 1 to 5 pounds, priority, 5 pounds and over, ground advantage, buyer pays all. And if you're selling just random kinds of stuff, that would probably be the very best settings to use because it will ensure that A, the buyers are paying all the shipping, and B, it will unbundle into separate orders once they hit certain weights because it priority at 1 to 5, and then it will either combine or unbundle. But the other thing I will say is avoid, at least for the first month until you get kind of acclimated, don't sell anything big.
Yeah.
That's just a tip I'm going to say. Just don't. Don't sell anything big. And what do I mean by big? If it won't fit in a 12 by 12 by 12 box, don't sell it until you know what you're doing. Um,
Get a large, flat rate
yeah, a
box.
large flat rate box and don't sell anything that won't fit in there. And if you have an item that will fill the whole box by itself, probably don't sell that either. Or make sure you learn how to use a custom shipping profile and list that item to ship by itself. Okay. So until you know what you're doing and until you have kind of a volume and of an understanding of how things work, that would be my best advice for shipping. I do have a couple of shipping videos on my YouTube account, which is in the show notes. So if you can go watch my YouTube, Draz on Whatnot. And then here is, let me find it. Choosing basic shipping settings. This will be invalid next month, but the one I just pinned walks you through if this, do this, if that,
Thanks,
do
Linda.
this, kind of helping you figure out how to set up shipping. Okay. Um,
We're gonna delve into shipping a lot later in the show. Let's answer some other questions real quick.
okay, what's the next
All
one?
right, so Triple M says, or is it M and M? Anyway, is it worth listing every single item or doing random pools? And the answer is yes and no to both.
Yeah.
I'll start with this. We were in a meeting with the corporate office today, and one of the engineers was talking about inventory. He works specifically on the inventory aspects of Whatnot. And one of the biggest mistakes that almost every single Whatnot seller makes is that they don't understand the shopping habits of people who are shopping when they come into a website. And 99.7 is some outrageously high number. They've been trained by other websites that the first thing you do when you go into a website is you go to the search bar and you start searching so that you get an idea of who sells the items that you like. So if you're like, let's say you want to buy beef jerky, you'll type in there beef jerky. Now, if you sell beef jerky and all you have is 1 pound of product, 2 pound of product, 3 pound of product, they will never know to go to your shows because you don't have anything listed. So everybody uses those generic listings in their shows. I don't know anybody who doesn't. And I don't know anybody who, well, they must exist, people who list every single item, but my recommendation is to go to get a good base of some of your best selling items. For example, we sell fabric, and there are certain fabrics that we will sell in our buy it now, and it's very well listed what it is, good pictures and everything. So if somebody's searching for fabric, they're going to find our site. But we sell a whole lot of stuff with generic listings, which is just the weight and a generic description of that is going to be a craft or fabric item. That's it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question. Dana will now talk to you for 18 minutes about that.
Well, there are some updates coming to the app um, that have been in beta. One of them you might already have, and that is if you'll click on your screen to create a listing, right? It used to show import, create, and temporary. Does anyone have the beta that says create template? Tell me if you have that. So if you don't, if you do have that, it looks like this. So when you click to add an item to your show, see how you've got import, create, and create template? Do you guys all have that? I mean, I know I'm in the beta and I thought that they had released it to more people. But what this will allow you to do is create templates so that every time you want to list similar items, and I haven't played around with it a
Prison
lot.
doesn't have it.
Let me just click it and show you what it shows. But this is coming. If you don't have it yet, it's coming. Okay. So here's my template. When I click that, oh, and let me put this in the right place. Okay. When I click that, it allows you to create, instead of a specific listing, it creates a template. So I could say that this is 1 yard of quilting fabric new. And then my picture is just going to be something generic, like I normally use on my, random pulls, and then it's going to have shipping and stuff like that. And because I clicked on a certain category, let me show you what it does on some of the categories. It's going to actually ask you questions. So like if I put sports card and football singles, all right, all of a sudden it puts a bunch of other stuff in there for me to fill out.
Point.
They haven't put a lot of stuff in there for fabric yet. So, I think that will improve, but what it will do is it will create a template that you can then reuse over and over out of your inventory. So that is coming, and it will just help it be more of a listing that you can reuse. And it will have, if you use it correctly, it will have more information in it so that when people do those searches, it will actually show that you have that type of item in your inventory because it has more details. Does that make sense? So that's coming. For us, those of us who sell fabric, I don't know that it's going to be super great yet because you saw there wasn't a much detail.
Yeah, we're a niche.
For
We're
other
very niche.
categories, it will have a lot more detail in there. And then it's a listing that you can use over and over. Okay, instead of having to create a custom specific listing. Here's what I will tell you um, about my experience with listings. When I have a show where I have curated that show and listed almost everything that I'm going to sell, the show experience from the seller, my perspective, and the buyer perspective is like night to day in how people respond to that show because they can see exactly what I'm going to be selling. They can go in and pre-bid. They can go in and request items once we go live. And they, they feel like their time is more, you're valuing their time because you've shown what you're going to have, and they know they can request it and they know they're going to be able to get what they want, and they don't have to sit there for 2 to 3 hours waiting to see if you might have something they want. Does that make sense? The platform is too crowded now in all categories for people to want to stick around in shows for hours unknowing if you're going to have something that they want. Now, do you still have your faithful, just want to hang out, love your guts, followers and people that come to your shows? Yeah. And especially if you've created an environment where people do want to just come and hang out. But are they necessarily your buyers? Do you want them there? Of course, you want them there. The numbers mean everything. Having more people in your shows means more people will come to your shows.
And they do occasionally buy.
And they do occasionally get
You
tempted
just
to buy
you
because a
can't
lot
help
of us
yourself.
have no self control. Me, I'm one of them. So, if you go into shows and you see something, you're like, dang it, now I have to buy something because I'm just too tempted, right? Um, but yeah, let's see. I'm afraid that will put me way below minimum wage if I spend all that time pre-creating listings. Um, that's what those templates will do for you is instead of individual listings, you can do them faster. But there's some other things you can do as well um, with listings that will speed it up um, that are coming down the pike. We were beta testing AI. The template thing made it go away. They are bringing AI out as soon as they possibly can. AI will allow you to take pictures and then have it create the listing for you. And on known, um, like new items with UPC codes, it works like a dream.
Oh yeah, the UPC code thing is.
Yeah, and then there's a UPC code thing that's also beta test.
Let me, can
So
I,
let
oh,
me see
can
if
I
that's
just,
still in there. Let me look.
well, while you're looking for that, I'm just gonna address something that Olga said. Um, there is there's a handful of people who have been on Whatnot, and from the get-go, they just hit it big, and for whatever reason, they hit the ground running and they never looked back. But the vast majority of you, your first 6 months or so, or maybe even more than that, it you are going to be spending a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to build up your show to the point where it can become profitable.
Yeah,
And then after you get to that point where you're confident that you're not spending too much time, and it's a and a lot of unpaid hours, so to speak, then you've got some decisions to make. Now there are shows, and some of them are huge. I'll give you an example of a category like snacks. They don't pre-list anything, and they're moving so fast, and they might have 5 people working the show, and they're just, every 30 seconds, they're selling another box full of snacks. You have to have a serious conversation with yourself. Do I have those kind of resources? In the fabric category, we have some sellers that go like this, and they don't list a lot of stuff, but they're boom, 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 boom. Well, I can guarantee you that they've spent thousands and thousands of dollars to have the inventory, and thousands of hours to get stuff set up so that they can do that. It wasn't an overnight kind of thing. It
right.
took time for them to get to that
And a
point,
lot of moolah.
and a lot of moolah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I think for your average seller, where it's a nice side job, or you're making enough money that you finally can quit your day job, I think you uh, we spend 60 to 80 hours a week doing our shows and stuff. It's not a it's not a yeah, don't look at it from an hourly wage
yeah.
standard.
You can't.
Yeah, you'd be better off working at Taco Bell.
Yeah,
You really would,
yeah.
if
You
you're
have to
looking
look
at
at
it
the
from
other
that
perks.
perspective.
Okay, so as far as creating listings go, I was going to show you one of the options that I that is still in there as long as you have it. So when you go to create a listing, so I'm going to show you on here, create. So I'm on back on here, create listing. So I click that. The thing that it asks you is to capture, scan, or upload media, right? You may not realize this is even there. You can scan a barcode. So if you sell new products, and I know not everybody sells new products that have UPC codes, but if you have something that has a UPC code, you can scan it with that instead of uploading a picture or taking a picture, and it will actually fill in the photo and the title and part of the description, and it will put in weight. You need to double check everything, but it will do this if you're selling new products.
Yeah,
Let me see if I have something I can
please
show
check
you.
the photo, because sometimes the manufacturer has some outdated old photo in there.
I'm just gonna see if I have something on hand that I can scan. Okay, so let me see if this one will scan. Um, all right, so this is a like one of those fabric shaver thingies. All right, so I'm gonna try it and see if this will scan so I can show you how this works. All right, so just a second, I have to get my, where's the camera on this thing? All right, so I'm trying to scan the barcode here. This came from the Zon, so it may or may not. Yeah, that one's not pulling up. Let me find something that's more mainstream. Let's see if this is too old. I'm in my sewing room, so and it's all kind of packed up, so I don't have a ton of stuff out here. Okay, so here's what I grabbed. So this is a little bottle of Mod Podge, that stuff, and I scanned the code, and here's what I got. So
Boom.
boom. Now look at the weight it put in there, though. So that's going to be need to be fixed because that's just one bottle. So it probably was, doing it at the case rate or something. Oh, thank you, Olga. That was very kind of you. So if you sell new products, so then I'm going to select that because it did bring up the correct item and it filled, see how it filled in the title? Oh, shoot. All right, so it filled in the title, it put in the pictures, and you are going to want to put in still a real live picture so that it's not just the stock photos. So once it puts the stock photo in there, so I'm going to also, put my own picture in there so that it has,
Is this
you know,
an upgrade for whatnot? Well, it's not.
it should be there on everybody's screens.
I think it was a year ago or two.
Yeah, it's been there for a while, and I've talked about it before. It's just that we sell fabric and a lot of fabric's not in there. So I used it a ton when we were selling lots of craft items that did have used UPC codes. All right, so then you just double check the title, fix anything in there. The description on this is too long, so I would probably just, take, do the little bit that's in there, and then I do need to fix the shipping because obviously this isn't, 4 to 6 pounds. It's probably more like 7 ounces or something, right? So then you would put that in there.
It's an 8 ounce bottle.
Oh, it says 8 ounce. Well, it's half used. So anyway, so and then it needs a category. So you figure out what category it goes into. All right. So, all right. So, any questions about that process? So, again, it's just when you go to do the picture, instead of uploading a picture or taking a picture, you're hitting that scan. And that will make listing UPC code items super fast. Okay. Um, all right. So, there you go. And I'm just discarding that because I don't want to accidentally sell someone a used bottle of Mod Podge.
Cedar wants to know if we're talking about the new shipping changes coming. Yes, we will.
All right, so let's go ahead and address that. Um, again, technically, this show is supposed to be about top-notch production and setup, which is why I had that original thing pinned. We will talk about it again um, as we close, but let's talk about shipping. All right, I have pinned right now, as soon as I find it, a document on your screen that is, it just is the cover of, oh, whoops, I pinned the wrong one. Hang on. Let me get the right one in here. All right, here we go. Upcoming changes to USPS shipping on whatnot. All right, some of you got emails, some of you did not. If you did not get the email that tells you that updated shipping settings are coming, let me get this pinned. Okay. This is the link that it links to. it tells you in the email, just a really brief, changes are coming, click this link to read all about it. And then it did say for some sellers that if you used 100 or more flat rate boxes in the month of May, you will get sometime in the month of July, you will get a credit to your account for it's intended to kind of be like, we're so sorry that you have to start buying your own packaging because flat rate is going away.
Wow, you should get that.
All right. So, and this says starting in early August, and it does say later on in the article, no sooner than August 1st. So we don't know the exact drop date of these changes, but it says no sooner than August 1st. Now, I was in a meeting today and I asked some very specific questions. I actually had a prepared list that I gave them, and this is what I got. Bupkis, nothing. Um,
We don't,
this is in fact, the person that we were talking to didn't even know most of the stuff that was in this. So you're going to get more reading this right now. And please, for the love of you know what, don't rely on what's out there on social media. Most of it is completely wrong.
so let me say this though. Statistically speaking, and I believe this is true of probably most people watching this show, the vast majority of your sales fall into a category where your customers will save money with the new shipping.
Yes.
And some vendors, some quite successful vendors, are ecstatic about this because for a lot of people on Whatnot, the flat rate shipping was confusing. This is going to simplify
Right. It will definitely
shipping a lot.
simplify shipping a lot. And if you mostly sell um, things that, people aren't going to buy more than 5 pounds of items, the rate is now going to be around $7.20 for 1 to 5 pounds instead of 9.21. 7.20 sounds pretty darn good compared to 9.21, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So,
that's a suggestion that Dana can make in her meetings with the Mucky Mucks. Some some
what was the
videos.
suggestion?
I wish Whatnot did some sort of example videos for shipping.
Yeah, and I think once they roll this completely out, they will. I think this is still in the process of being completed. They are still madly programming this change, you guys. And I don't know this for sure, so don't quote me, but I don't think that this was a whatnot decision. I think it was a postal service decision.
It was.
It makes sense to me. Poshmark already went that way. Other platforms already are going that way. And if you go on social media right now, what is the Postal Service advertising? Which they don't advertise a whole lot. What are they advertising?
Ground.
Ground advantage, like
Ground
crazy, trying to get all businesses to go ground advantage.
So when we were in Austin
Yeah.
a few months ago, we sat with a group of people that were quite successful sellers on Whatnot, and one of the sellers, her husband is a big wig at the Postal Service, and we can tell you that the Postal Service has been absolutely slammed by Whatnot. They never expected the level of packages. I think it went up 1,000,000 packages a year, something like that. Every year, we start shipping more than 1,000,000 packages. And so, understand and recognize that you guys are getting into Whatnot on the ground level here.
Still.
We're still, even though it's been a few years, you'll be able to, when you're 90 years old, tell your kids, I remember back when Whatnot, you know And we ship flat rate. Can you believe that? You know. Anyway, you'll be able to tell your kids that and your grandkids that and because if you look at Amazon, if you're old enough like me, you can remember when Amazon was just this concept of selling books. That was it. And now it's the largest retailer in the world. Well, hopefully Whatnot, goes that way and you'll be able to say, I remember when Whatnot was just a small auction platform only doing a couple billion a year
Yeah.
or whatever. So yeah, you just be patient and be positive and be understanding that we're still growing and we're still figuring out who we are and what we do. And we're not just a United States and Canada
Right.
company.
Yeah.
So shipping,
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get this to back up a
yeah,
little.
shipping issues
There we go.
impact customers around the world. And the day may come where your customers aren't just from the 50 states and the territories of the United States and Canada. You'll have customers. Well, we've already had customers
Yeah, we
from,
have. I mean, the
but
reason we don't have as much of an international presence right now is just because of what's going on politically with all the tariffs and everything.
well, and they've opened up
But
offices in foreign countries too.
right, 'cause
So
but you will, once that kind of gets ironed out more, I think we'll be back to more of an international marketplace. It's just, with the politics the way they are right now, which I don't want to talk politics. I'm just saying that atmosphere is, what's creating nobody really wanting to shop in other countries. Everybody's just shopping local, which,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
from a country's perspective, that's really actually a good thing
right.
for all of us. But yeah.
Right. The Postal Service, yes, Olga, has benefited from Whatnot, and it does pay their wages, etc. Our local post office, they love our guts, and we come in every day and dump a big wad of stuff on them. And but it is a growth thing. And you made an interesting point. A lot of people were cheating. The Postal Service has known this for a long, long, long time, and they just have chosen not to until recently.
Right, the
Uh,
volume just got to the point that they have to. They can no longer, you know and Whatnot was eating. Whatnot itself was eating all of our overcharged, underweight, you know, the label says 3 ounce, the package is 17-ounce stuff.
yeah,
Whatnot was eating it, and they
yeah,
can't anymore. It's just too much.
yeah. The Postal Service, the very, very first thing they do when they scan it on their end is it goes on a scale, and they already know what's over and what's under. And yeah,
Right, which is another thing to remind you of. Probably this will roll out at the same time that this shipping update goes live, is that you will now be affected by what they are calling, if you go into your shipping on your seller hub, there under shipments, there's a thing called carrier adjustments. If you haven't looked at it, please go look at it. So let me show you on the screen. So this is Seller Hub. I'm on the web version. So Seller Hub, here's shipping and carrier adjustments. So if you have sent any packages where it was underweight or the scanned weight did not match the label, then it will show you, in here some stats about that. And it shows you for a month's worth of time. And then if there were any other charges that they ever did in your behalf over the last, I don't know how long,
we
but
screwed up back.
here's one that we screwed up on
Dana screwed
apparently.
up on a package back in February.
And Whatnot covered the cost, but they're no longer going to be covering that cost. It doesn't give us a specific date. It just says it's going to come soon. So yeah, so make sure you're paying attention to that, because if you have not been really careful about weighing all your packages and make sure making sure that the package matches the label, you're going to start getting that charged back to you. Okay. Um, there is an issue where I think what has happened is they put a package on their scale and there was something else on top. And so, like, two packages, and then it weighs it but scans your label. And so, if that happens, that's why it's super important that you do the in-app scanning, because that will prove the that you shipped it with a label saying this. And you may want to start, if it becomes an issue, put the package on your scale with a picture. um, because I guess some people have had the post office claim that the package weighed X, and what it was there was another package underneath it, and they scanned the label on the package on top. So I don't think that will be a frequent occurrence, but if you have pictures and on the scale and your label and everything, you're going to be able to prove that, what the weight was.
So Vicky, it's okay that your packages are underweight. The one thing I would warn you on is don't send anything that there's nothing in the package. I'll give you a couple of scenarios where this might be a temptation. A customer um, changes their address or something in the middle of the show, and suddenly you have two shipments and you just want to send it in one package, so you send a package with zero in it just because you have to print the label, etc. The post office, when they get those packages that have zero in it, they think that what's going on is that you've sold somebody something and you're not sending them anything, and then using that shipping to claim that they sent it, but they'll tag it as a fraudulent shipment. So,
Well, plus you run the risk of the customer also saying something and then getting
well, right,
forcing a
exactly,
refund. So
right.
yeah, don't send anything like that. I'm just going to say flat out, once this shipping change rolls out, I try and make it match as much as possible, but it's okay to be a little bit over, never okay to be a little bit under, because that's
Yeah,
where you're
don't
going
be
to have
under at
problems.
all.
So don't be under. And I would try and avoid being way over too, because that could possibly,
I mean, don't be under in the amount of shipping.
right,
You can be underweight, but don't ever be overweight.
right. Don't be over whatever the label says it is. But be careful just all around. You're going to want to try and be as exact as possible, because they are scrutinizing everything, and it could change the class if your label says too much weight and it's a lot less. So just try and be exact, or as close as you can get, but making sure that it weighs a little bit less versus more. Does that make sense? Okay. So yeah, that article, please go read it. It does have details about rates. It does have a link that links you to the Postal Service website that shows you this ground advantage chart that I'm going to show you.
We'll
So
cover
there's a
this
link in here,
a bit. Oh,
and it has information about sizes. It has information about additional fees if you have oversized or overweight packages. And anything over 5 pounds will be subject to these rules, because the link in that article tells us when you go over 5 pounds in any package, because the deal they're making with Whatnot is the 1 to 5 pounds for 720, right? And if you allow it to bundle items over 5 pounds, it then is subject to these rates and these rules. Okay. It is still subject I believe, to these rules for girth and
Kylie is asking
other
where you found
things.
this.
This is on the Postal Service website, and it is the link from this article. So this is the article under upcoming changes. So just go to frequently asked questions or help.whatnot.com and type in the words upcoming changes, and you'll find this article. And the link is right here that says heavier packages 5 to 70 pounds will be charged USPS commercial rates. And when you click that, it takes you to this link, which is from it's the Postal Service's website. Okay.
Can I just say something? When you're doing your sales, verbiage is everything. I would I would ask you to not say, yeah, whatnot raised their rates because or whatnot changed the shipping. What you should say, and this is accurate, is the postal service changed their rates and whatnot had to make adjustments to fit um the new postal rates, and which is true. And and then talk about the fact that for the vast majority of customers you will save money under the new rates.
Right.
So be positive. um you know Talk about how we're just making adjustments to fit the new guidelines that the postal service has issued, and the vast majority of our customers are going to pay less for shipping under these guidelines. So
Right.
anyhow.
And I will say that they still are, whenever we ask, are you going to get some additional carrier options? The answer is still that they're working on it.
Yes, they're working on Donkey Train, and they expect Mule Train and Donkey Train to be available by the end of the year, but only for 3 or 4 time zones away.
So, I mean, you know, hopefully soon we may have some other options, UPS, FedEx, I don't know. But right now, everything is going through the Postal Service. And so you need to just, be positive, be happy that we have a better deal for that 1 to 5 pounds. 720 sounds pretty good to
So
me compared to almost every other platform, right?
so Green Knight, I heard some questions like this. The question is, can you adjust shipping after a seller has already paid? Currently, a lot of us are using flat rates, so it
It
didn't really
doesn't really
matter. It didn't
matter.
really matter. We don't know those
I would
answers yet.
say I would say if it's based on what I've experienced in the past, I would say no. Um, that you're not going to be able to refund buyers if you screwed up the shipping. So, I mean, you can appeal. There's always an appeal for a case by case. So, like if you accidentally typed that something weighed 6 pounds instead of 6 ounces when you entered it, and it charged your buyer the outrageous commercial ground advantage rate, and they live in Alaska or something, can you go in and appeal through customer service and say, "I screwed up. Can you please reimburse the customer and get me a new label?" Probably they're going to accommodate you, right? But overall, just the, little few bucks here and there, my experience has been no. Their answer is this is what was in there when you sold it. That's what, because it would be a nightmare for them if we can't get our crap right to have to reimburse every little bit of, it's not streamlined for them
So
to
yeah,
be able
get
to
your
do
crap
that.
right.
So, well, because honestly, you're a business, get your shipping right or don't play the game. And I know it's been confusing. And I know people feel like it's hard, but you have to remember that this is a new way of selling that has never been done before. You go to other platforms, you typically buy one, maybe two items from a vendor on the Bay or Posh or Mercari, you don't go into a show and buy 20 items. It's a whole different thing. It's a new thing. Whatnot is inventing this, and other people are copying it now. But Whatnot is inventing this as we go. And so, be patient with the process. Exactly. Lovely Pinto said it right. Get your ship right. So,
Get your ship together.
weigh everything, double check everything you enter, try to make sure everything is accurate so you don't get those problems. And you're all going to have a screw up. I mean, when we were new sellers and we had a couple of shows, we screwed some things up, and you learn the hard way, and you pay,
Right.
you know?
Like
So,
like prizes to Canada.
yeah, like
Okay.
prizes to Canada.
So here's a different question. It's changed the topic a little bit.
Okay.
Do you allow cancellations? How do I stop people from requesting cancellations of full orders while show notes already mention that?
So, again, you're the business owner. You have it stated, and you have everything in there. If you have someone request to cancel, it's up to you to decide what to do with that. And honestly, if you feel like if you did something wrong in that process, then own up and cancel the order. If you didn't do anything wrong, um you can deny the request. You can. I would try and be diplomatic about it. Um, and probably if they're upset about it, they're going to try and force it through Whatnot. But yeah. Do you think that we will still have unbundling and rebundling? I'm not sure. That's a good question because I think the way that you're going to need to set up your shipping, hopefully
Well,
you will have it forced to
here's
bundle and bundle how you want it to beforehand.
yeah, that's a cart before the horse question,
Right.
because one of the questions Dana answered today and we did not get an answer yet is, will we have adjustments?
Right. I asked about the 5 free adjustments. Um but yeah, I mean, I don't know that you're going to want to bundle and unbundle, because if you're doing more exact weights and forcing it by how you list using custom listing, custom shipping profiles, it should bundle and unbundle exactly how you already set it up. So, I mean, probably the option will still be there if you screw something up and need to unbundle or bundle, but I would guess it would still be there. Um, but here's the thing. If you picture this way, so if you have something in there and you're wanting to do the 1 to 5 pounds 720, and then you didn't have it set to automatically unbundle after 5 pounds, and it continued to bundle items, which is what it will do, right? Continue to bundle items, and then you're like, I need this in 3 different boxes or whatever you had your shipping settings at is how it charged the customer. And it will still probably, depending on how you have it set, um, it may do that smart bundling where it unbundles and does already have separate packages. And then you're not going to be able to control how it charged your customer. And if you do bundle or unbundle, you can't really reimburse them because they're going to say to you that's how you had it set. So I mean, if you look at this article, one of the things that it really that stood out to me is it says this right at the beginning. It says, um, use custom shipping profiles and bundle limits to help keep shipments at or below 5 pounds when possible. That's to me, that's saying automatically set up your listing so that it unbundles or that it, yeah, that it unbundles at 5 pounds so that, if they buy more than 5 pounds, it's automatically going to put that first 5 pounds in one package and start a new package that's, whatever weight they buy after that. Because it says the heavier packages 5 to 70. So if you allow it to just stay in there and continue to bundle, if they're buying more, it will start doing that USPS commercial rates. And if you have a reduced shipping, you're going to, as the seller, be paying that rate. Or if you have it set up for buyer pays all, they're going to be paying that higher rate. So the advantage for everyone will be for you to force it to unbundle at 5 pounds so that the most they pay per package is 720 instead of going to those higher rates. So yeah.
Okay, we have a question about what kind of scale do you recommend?
Just the nice digital scales. And if you sell awkward sized things, get one of the scales that has that separate little attachment that shows the weight so that your heavy item that normally covers up.
These are not expensive scales.
Yeah, they're not expensive.
You buy them online, they're what, 10, $20 or something like
Yeah.
that. They run on AA batteries and they're pretty accurate.
Yeah, they're pretty accurate and they last forever. Um, just check the reviews. That's what I would
And
say.
we have two. They're I think they're both a different brand, but they're very similar.
Yeah, very similar. You just get them on, Amazon or eBay or somewhere, the scales. And yeah, just check the reviews and make sure it's one that gets good reviews and has a lot of reviews.
And
And
ours have a button where we can toggle between pounds,
ounces and
ounces
grams.
and grams.
And I like that feature because, most of the time we're using ounces when we ship. And then the one that I use in my shows, I have set for pounds. Um, and then it does ounces and then pounds. So,
For new sellers, I want to just say something real briefly about equipment and stuff. Take it slow. Wait until you get okay, so essentials. Let's talk about essentials. A label printer, but only after you get sales up to the point where just using your laser printer or whatever.
if you already have one.
Yeah,
If you don't have a
if you
printer, get a label printer. Don't go buy something else. Just get a label
just get a
printer.
label printer, yeah. But just wait till you're sick of cutting la- labels out of paper, or it's taking you an extra hour of shipping every night to do that. Uh, they're only like a couple $100 or $100 or something like that, but just don't spend the money till you have to.
What's a
Um,
couple $100?
the label
No,
printers.
they're not. They're like 50 to
I said
less
I
than.
said 100.
They're not that expensive.
Okay, so like
You
I
can
was,
get a really good label
they're a couple
printer
hundred pesos.
for less than $50.
So I'm
Yeah,
bad
and
with
if you
money.
get one that
Anyway,
uses the generic labels and you buy them in bulk, it's really not that expensive and it's worth it.
it,
So if you don't have a printer already,
but I'm saying don't run out and buy that at first. If you
if
don't,
you have a printer,
yeah, if you have a
you
printer.
have to have something.
Okay. Welcome to As the World Turns. Today, Dana and Bert
Well, I'm
argue
like,
about
you gotta
printers.
have something.
Hey, yeah, but you
Anyway,
need the scale. You do need the scale. You're gonna need some scissors. You're gonna need tape. You're gonna need some packing tape. But don't go buy a whole case of packing tape. Run down to Walmart and buy the little one that's got the dispenser on it already.
right. What he's saying is when you're brand new, don't go out and invest a ton of money in a bunch of stuff until you know how it's going to go for you.
Right.
Because otherwise, you may get on there and start running shows and go, I hate this. This sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. And suddenly you're $300 in the hole with all the supplies you went and bought. So he's just saying, be careful. Now, if you already have a business plan, you've already been a reseller on other platforms, you want to hit the road running, go for it. You already probably have most of that stuff anyway. Okay. So, yeah. Does anyone have the iPhone 17 Pro Max? Does it still overheat while you're running? Mine is a 16, so I haven't upgraded. Let's see. Vintage Chick says she has it. It never gets warm in the first 2 hours.
My
That's
phone is
nice.
the Alexander Graham Bell Discover telephone.
Mine does pretty good. I mean, it does get warm, but I've never had it overheat and shut off. So, yeah, but that is nice about that one.
Oh,
Um,
and yeah, don't run out and buy a camera. Just use your phone camera.
yeah, honestly, your phone camera, they will tell you in all the whatnot verbiage that your phone camera is almost always, unless you want to go spend thousands of dollars on really fancy crap, the one on your phone is the best camera. The phone companies have invested thousands and thousands and thousands of time and money upgrading
Yes.
the phone cameras. I mean, your phone camera is better than almost all digital cameras already.
Yeah.
It's a
Do
big deal. So,
do buy a laptop that you can have on your desk next to your show where you're doing your show.
if you want to use the web version, yes.
Yeah, because there's so many things you can do. That's one of the odd things about Whatnot. You can do things on your phone that you can't do on the desktop or the laptop. There are things you can do on your laptop that you can't do on your phone. So I recommend that you go into your show with both. You
If
know,
if you don't have a laptop, you can do it on just mobile devices. But during the show, I prefer personally to use the web version just because the tools that you have available. Let me just show you the
like
dashboard.
changing a price
So
or
this is a PC that I'm on right here because we're up in my sewing room office. But this is the web version versus a mobile device. I mean, the difference is this is okay. So here's your mobile device screen and the tools that you have. Here's the web version. All the things you can
plus a
see.
mouse.
I mean, you can do all of these
The
things,
web
sort
version comes with a
things.
water cup.
You can see who's in here. You can see your sales. You can see pre bids by doing this. I mean, everything is right here. The web version to me is so much richer and I much prefer it. There are some downsides to using the web version. One of them is that sometimes there's a delay, and sometimes, you know, the web version of the software is doing weird things and messes it up versus the mobile. But if that happens during your live, then you just deal with it and switch to mobile. Um, so yeah, next update should have a little larger print. That would be nice, right? Have you heard that? Did you hear that from somewhere? Do you need to have more than one phone? Not necessarily, but it is a nice option if you want to show things or you want to have someone there modding, or, it's hard for if you're not able to use a laptop or a bigger screen to do something, then it definitely helps to have another phone.
I highly recommend that if you can pull it off, get somebody to help you with your show. I our
Someone in your house.
one of our moderator uses her daughters. If you have a spouse that refuses to help you out, try and recruit a friend or somebody. Your
At the very
show,
least, try and recruit somebody to mod for you, even if they're not in your house.
well,
It
of
just
course,
makes
yeah.
a big
I mean, yeah,
difference.
that's an obvious.
Yeah.
But if you can have somebody help you to run your show, it be in the background. They don't have to say anything, but it really really makes a huge difference. So, and I mean from the get go, if you can pull it off. So,
Yeah. So Doll Clothes by Vicky is saying she bought a label printer, but the printing is so small on the label, I can't use it. So even full size, like, is it not printing out the labels?
I think she needs, that's
It's probably
that's
a
a printer
setting.
adjustment
Yeah,
setting,
to
yeah.
me, that sounds like a printer adjustment in the software. So you need to go um, into your seller hub and go to shipments and then open the sidebar. Okay. So this is the shipping screen and that little sidebar. You click that and then you scroll down and there's some shipping label settings right here. So make sure you go check that and make sure it's the right settings in your sidebar. And that's on your seller hub. So let me show you again, seller hub, shipment screen, open sidebar, and then scroll down and here's where you fix the shipping label. Okay. So make sure that that's correct on there. And also you may need, depending on what device it's hooked to, you may need to update the driver that came with it. So try that.
So Kylie, I'm gonna recommend that what you do for a label printer is the one I'll tell you not what not to buy. Don't buy a brand um that is
Requires.
one of the big brand names that makes special labels for their printer. Those labels will rape you. They are brutally expensive. Just look at some videos, look up some stuff online and say, what's a good thermal printer for labels? And you can even Google or put whatnot in there, and then you'll maybe get some recommendations from some other sellers. And our label printer works like a charm. It's worked for years. It's done tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of labels for us, and we rarely have a problem with it. And we can buy the less expensive label.
Right, the generic labels.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get one that requires a monthly subscription or something.
Right, or
But yeah, so
requires
just
labels on a wheel, what do they call that? On a roll?
yeah, there's some labels that require, the labels have to be on a little track thing, and those are going to be more expensive because you have to buy that brand. So if you just go on Amazon and look at label printers and find ones that have good reviews, you can even ask that, like he said, works well with whatnot or
Yeah.
whatever, and you'll find some good
Yeah, ours
reviews.
is a generic label, I can't even think
It's
of the
Vevor, Vevor,
okay, like I was been saying, it's Vivor.
and that one has really good reviews. So yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, they changed names. They're manufactured in China. They give them all kinds of who knew,
yeah,
whatever names. But just make sure it has good reviews and also make sure it can be returned easily if there's a problem. Because just like every other kind of electronic, sometimes you buy an electronic, open the box, and the freaking thing doesn't work first right out of the box. That happens. So make sure it's returnable if there's an issue.
yeah, if you need a printer that's mobile, make sure that it's Bluetooth enabled so that you don't
Yeah, if you
have
want
to
one that you don't have to
be
plug into the
wired.
computer,
Yeah.
then get one that's Bluetooth enabled so that you can, just use the Bluetooth. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and yeah, there's all kinds of tricks. And usually you could find that brand and find help videos for it specifically if you're having a problem with it. So, yeah. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that you love it. So Kylie is local to us, so she came and
Yeah,
picked
I
up an
met her
order.
today. She'll be surprised when she finds out that I shorted her order. No, I'm kidding.
All right. So yeah, if you have questions, put them in chat with a question mark. Let's talk a little bit more about production. Um, Here's what I'm going to say. You can be all the way just to the basic person sitting, at a table, never showing your face, small area, um, and you have it well lit and you're showing product and you have the kind of product that you don't have to, have a big area to show it. All the way up to really fancy using OBS software, doing special effects, three different views on the screen, running wheels, all kinds of fancy stuff. There's all kinds of production processes. You need to find out what works for you and what works for what you sell. I will say this about those of you who sell fabric. Um, I kind of personally, and maybe this is my preference, I think a lot of the sellers do. I mean, I like to see fabric close up, yes, but I also like to see the whole piece of fabric and not just a close up of the print. I think everybody needs to back up just enough so that you can see the whole piece of fabric and get a picture of what you're actually buying. It really bothers me if it's just tight little quarters of them showing you this and they're trying to, especially if they're showing you something like a panel, you can't get the whole picture of what it is. So back up a little bit, get your view situated. Maybe the better view is from the side and you're showing the fabric here, but your camera's over, over here. Figure it out because it's super annoying if you don't get to see the whole item. If you sell things like clothing or vintage items, you have no choice. You're going to have to show the whole item. Um, but a lot of people don't like to necessarily show their face, which is fine, but give it enough space and back up enough that people can see the whole product. It will make people more comfortable about buying from you. Also, I think you're missing out if they can't see the periphery, especially if you're doing random pulls and they can see off to the side a big old stack that you're going to be going through. They might stick around because they see some stuff in that stack that they're wanting to see,
Or they
or
might
they might ask
say
for it.
"I have to leave in 5 minutes. Can you run that blue one with the flowers?"
Right. So if you're not showing some of the extra stuff, the stack that you're going to run or whatever, you're going to miss out on people who are going to only see the one thing you're showing and be bored and leave and not stick around for that big pile they can't see. Does that make sense? So back up enough so people can see what else you have. And that includes any product, really. Um, People want to see what's coming up. And if you're showing just one item at a time and that's all they can see, boring,
Yeah.
yawn if it's something they don't want. They're out of there. So, in your production setup, make sure that you have enough on display in the periphery stuff people are going to want to stick around for. That
Right.
helps to keep people in your show. Um, Listings help keep people in your show. Um, Talking about things coming up help keep people in your show. Talking helps keep people in your show. Running giveaways can help keep people in your show, but not necessarily. Honestly, being yourself and being your best self and bringing your best self to the table and learning how to interact and sell takes time, but it's what helps build what an audience that people want to stick around for.
And I'm gonna say something about going on camera. I I think it's important. Why is our picture so
I think
bad?
my phone, because I had to plug it in, it's
Uh,
all, let me just see.
anyway,
I'm gonna minimize really quick and come back on. Is that better? That's a much better picture. Okay,
yeah.
there we go.
Okay.
For some reason it went really dark.
So I'm gonna a lot of people are afraid to go on camera because they think they're ugly or they think they're not attractive or whatever. And Whatnot is unique in that it's as much social, if not more social than just sales. And people want to know what you look like and they're curious. I'm not saying that you have to go on camera all the time, but if you pop on the camera every once in a while, it's reassuring and people like that. And if you think you're not now please don't get me wrong. If you have some incredibly hideous uh, facial deformity or something like that, and you don't want people to see that. I get that. That's fine. I understand that. But some like I love Danny DeVito. I absolutely love him as an actor. The dude is short. He's overweight. He's got a fat head like me. I mean, I'm glad that 40 years ago, he decided to go on camera. What if Danny DeVito had looked in the mirror and said, I'm not going to go on camera because I'm not attractive? You don't have to be attractive to be loved and liked. And they see that sparkle in your eye and they see your smile and they see your love for the fabric or whatever you sell. That will do more for you than hiding behind the camera because you're afraid you're not really good looking. So that's all I have to say about that. I personally am really good looking. So
And he definitely has a big head, about a
actually,
big head physically and
my wife is very good looking, but I am.
yeah, personality really is everything. And I think that's one of the keys is your personality shining through is what brings people back because they enjoy being with you. They've found things in common with you. They enjoy your stories. They enjoy your personality. And it makes a big difference. Yeah, confidence is huge. I mean, it does take time. And I know not everybody has, everybody's got issues sometimes with that. Some people have anxiety, some people are really shy, but and we didn't start out showing our faces either, just because that was more the norm when we started selling. But we quickly realized, why not? Why not? Because we can, people can start getting to know you better.
And
And like he said, you don't
we
have to do
don't do
it.
all show. We don't show our faces on all shows. We have some shows like 60 items in 60 minutes, and they may see Dana in the introduction, but then the camera goes down and we're just boom, boom, boom,
Right.
boom, and you're seeing us, move the stuff because it's the type of show we've selected. So you don't have to always be on camera, but just every once in a while look in the camera, let people see what you look like. It will really help you to build an audience.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Now get that camera off me. I'm ugly.
All right. Any other comments or questions? And just talking about, I mean, this goes right along with production setup. Do what you can do to create an environment that people want to come back to, which is includes you. So the environment that you're selling in, your personality, your preparation,
Yeah.
all of those things have to do with your production.
And if you talk to specialists uh, about production, we sat through a production seminar in Austin. We'll probably have to go soon because I think Dana's camera's going to die or phone's going to die. The two most important things are lighting and sound. Just make sure they can hear you and that you speak up and enunciate things properly. And number two, make sure that you have good lighting. Those are the two most important things. So for a newbie, get those two down and
Yeah.
you're good to go if you get that done. Then you can worry about more things like what the room you're in looks like, and do I put a poster on the wall? Do I have a blank wall? And questions like that. So
Yeah, I agree.
now, please get that camera off
All
me.
right. So random question. What table is your sewing machine on the back? Looks like a neat setup. Actually, it's just kind of a generic little table. I just have my serger and my sewing machine on. It's one I bought many years ago. I do like it because it allows you to put both, and it's just like it folds up. Um, but it's a good one because it's just portable and allows you to kind of.
See, we're freezing up there.
Yeah, is it freezing?
Looks like it.
It's on there frozen, but it's not on the camera. It's not frozen.
Oh, it was frozen to us for a
Oh,
second.
it's frozen on the web. Yeah, that's normal. Yeah. Um, let's see. Yeah. So Yvonne, you were answering Yvonne's question, right? What type of equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bare minimum is I would, bare minimum, honestly, if you're being completely honest, bare minimum is a good cell phone and good Wi-Fi. You can actually do whatnot if you have a decent cell phone and good Wi-Fi. Um, and then take it from there. But
Yeah, if you don't have any lighting,
oh,
just
and
go
you do
outside.
have to have a printer. You do have to have a printer because you've got to be able to print the labels. So there you go. Those three things.
Because handwriting sucks.
Um, well, yeah, you can't handwrite your labels. But I don't. Maybe they'll get
barcodes
to a
are a
point.
bear.
Maybe they'll get to a point where you could just take a scan sheet in and the post office prints it. But right now, you do have to have that.
Handwriting the barcodes is a bear.
You can turn your camera. Oh no, you do have to have your camera vertical for whatnot. It doesn't do horizontal. You could, if you're showing items, turn it like if you have stuff on the table. So like here's my Mod Podge. Let's say I was showing stuff. You could have it view like this where it's horizontal, but it's still um on the phone vertical. There's no choice. There's no way to do a horizontal view on the phone. Is it's limited to vertical, yeah. So there. Yes, you can use computer webcams, but they are not recommended because webcams, the 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 computer webcam's quality is a lot lower than your phone. And that's why they always say the best is your phone, unless you have, some big fancy production camera that you've gone out and spent thousands of dollars on, which, I mean, I guess if you're going to be $1 million seller in 6 months, go for it, but I don't have that kind. So let's see. Val Deb says I have so few sales that it seems the label pin
She sends the
picture to Walmart. Oh, and print out photos for them for 16 cents each. So you send the label picture to Walmart. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. If you have a friend that's willing to print them for you, or you want to do something like that, you can. Um, that is an option. Just send them to a friend on an email because you can just download them and send them and have them print it for you. But honestly, have a few shows and use the proceeds to, buy a label printer 'cause they're really not that bad. They're not that expensive. So, yeah. All right, you guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Um, I'm hoping to get some answers to those questions soon. I did give them a big list. Maybe by Tuesday morning, I'll have some info to share, but maybe we'll all just find out as it rolls out. Oh, one thing I did get some clarification on, I think. It in their email, it did say that you would be able to do private shows. Let me find where it says that. That you would be able to do private shows to practice using the new changes. And the way they worded it, indicated to me that they would have it in there now. Because see, this says tip, you can preview shipping costs and test your shipping setup using a private show. Keep in mind that transactions made during a private show are real. To me, that was like, oh, you can start doing private shows to test it out. And actually, the clarification I got was they were saying once they go live, you can do private shows. So I don't think that was the case. So, but I interpreted it that way, and I think a lot of people did. So I think that that means once they release the rates, you'll be able to do private shows and test it out before you go live. So yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I don't know why my lighting is weird on this. I think it's just my phone is maybe did a low thing because I had it plugged in. I unplugged it so it would cool off. I've never had that happen. Maybe it's the plug that I'm using because I'm using a weird one up here in my office. All right, so let's
Alrighty.
run another giveaway really quick before we leave because I do have two more of those cards. So everyone get in. We'll draw them really fast. If you want a Draz
Collectible
great
card.
card. So drawing in 5, 4. Everybody get in. Quick, quick, quick. If you want a trading card.
That card is not accurate. I don't have that suit anywhere.
Not everyone has them. You do have to buy them, but if you want to buy them, this is who sells them. So Thrift Works is the username of the person who sells these, and you can get them made, custom made for your shop. All right, drawing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, but if we're number 300 and what?
392.
392,
There's not very many sellers,
there's over
honestly.
there's over 400
Let's see who we
sellers
got.
that
I missed it. Niece, let's see.
Joy Who's
Joy.
Who.
Joy won the trading card. Congrats. So that will come to you.
Congrats,
right.
Joy.
One more. Let's do it fast. Because I have 3 that I was going to give away.
Joy
Anyone else
080
want
became Joy Husu.
one?
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe you're like, what am I going to do with that? Well, it's a collectible. You can actually sell it for the people who. So that means that there are 392 sellers who have.
At
Well, when I
least.
got this, I was the 392nd seller who had bought trading cards. So I'm 392 in the collection. Thriftworks is see that on the very bottom. Let me see if I can get it to focus.
Thriftshopcards.com.
Yeah, thriftshopcards.com or Thriftworks is the username here on Whatnot. Thriftworks USA. Yep. All right, let's draw. Everybody that wants one, here we go. Going to Sun Ray. Nice, you're getting a trading card. All right, yeah, they're really cute. Some of the fabric sellers that have them, Wild Granny has one. I'm trying to think other fabric sellers that have them. Anyone else know any other fabric sellers that have them? Because I know there's at least one other that's not coming to my mind. Farmhouse has them. There you go. Farmhouse has one. So thanks, everyone. How do sellers print out a small label for each purchase? They're using a software that you can get a subscription to called NotBot. Let me type it in there. NotBot. I think that's how it's spelled. Let me just look on here. And I'm tempted, honestly, to get it because if you watch Cheap Girl's show, she's using it. I think it's more important for people who sell by themselves. And yeah, it's only about $30 a month. And you can there's lots of different settings for it
Gotcha.
that you can use, and it just prints. You get it. You would have to buy another thermal label printer, and because you have to have a dedicated printer that's loaded with the little smaller labels. Um, or you would have to switch it every time, you know. But anyway, I've been tempted by it because it looks pretty cool. So, and it's Mellow State is a they are a Whatnot Sellers who
Oh,
created it.
Becca says you don't need a dedicated printer.
You switch yours back and forth. Oh, okay. So when you're done with your show, you just take those out and then switch it. Okay. And it you don't have to change the settings or anything. It knows, because that was what I was worried about. So it just during your show, it knows to print that size that you've set it to, and then when you switch to your computer, it knows obviously from the Whatnot software. Okay, so there you go. So yeah, there you go from Becca who's using it. It's pretty sweet from what I've seen. I mean, because Bert helps me, I haven't been as tempted. Maybe once we get moved, I'll look into it and see. Um, because it, yeah, makes it pretty amazing to just be able to label everything and sort it. So,
Right, but that is an expense and you
yeah,
want to
another
get up to a
expense.
speed where it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. I would think you would want, to be selling at a certain speed to make it worth it. So, yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Have a
All
wonderful
right.
evening. Let's go
Thanks,
find
guys.
someone to raid. Let me look and
Have a great
see
life.
who is live that we can go raid into. Since we're in quilting sewing tonight, let's go raid into. Let's pick someone who has a small audience. How about So What Jen is doing Art Gallery and Ruby Star. She's got 6 people. Let's go rate her. So what, Jen? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Here we go. So what? Have a great night.